So today via a live stream from FFG, we got 10 brand new spoilers for the upcoming set Shadows of the Galaxy releasing July 12th, alongside 3 brand new mechanics, 2 of which we'll go over a little bit today. One of them they kept under wraps, but we'll go into more detail on that as well. So here's a brief look at the 10 new cards. Also, they added the shield and the experience. They just remade them for set 2, gave them some Mandalorian themes to them, which I think is pretty cool. I have whipped up a couple of deeper dive slides that we can go through just to see how I think personally the cards are going to work, what other cards are going to work with them, how they're going to synergize, if they're going to be good, if they're not going to be good. Obviously, it's a way too soon review of the cards and speculation because these are 10 of the 262 cards, which is 10 cards bigger than the previous set. And all of these cards are for the most part in the starter decks. We have cards from the Moff Gideon starter deck and the Mandalorian starter deck alongside 2 cards that aren't in either starter deck. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? All right, so first up, we have Moff Gideon. He is the formidable commander. He is a 5 resource to deploy leader, 3/6 when he does deploy. As the leader unit, he has action exhaust to attack with a unit that costs 3 or less. If it's attacking a unit, it gets +1/+0 for this attack, which I find to be pretty cool. I find it to be pretty useful to go first because I feel like it's a deck that you're going to want to hold on to priority to. You go into the next turn, and then the very first action of your turn, you can exhaust Moff Gideon to get in that attack with extra damage. When he does flip, he has Overwhelm, so he's a 3/6 with Overwhelm. That part, it's kind of meh, but each friendly unit that costs 3 or less also gets +1/+0 and gains Overwhelm while attacking an enemy unit, which I find to be really strong as well. So noting his ability, they get +1/+0 on attack and defense, and Overwhelm while they're attacking an enemy unit. If they are attacking a base, they're not getting +1/+0. Yeah, because they're not attacking a unit. So they're either getting +1/+0 and Overwhelm when they attack a unit, or they're getting none of that if they're like attacking a base or whatever. So I find it kind of similar to IG-88 in terms of, giving other friendly units raid 1. And also, as you can see on the stat line, it's also the exact same stats as Leia. And Leia has been a pretty good leader thus far. So obviously with the same stats, you expect him to be pretty well statted for a 5 resource leader. So that's already one thing going correctly for him. Some ideas that I think could possibly happen is maybe like a mono green type of deck. He probably could. It's a pretty good effect. It'd be a mono green, probably Imperial themed deck. Obviously resupply Imperial, Super Laser Technician is an Imperial, Command, the 2 green pip card is really good in these sort of decks. I feel like it's going to be very much board control related, where you're going to want to control the board. So it's a different type of control versus getting rid of your opponent's units through card effects, exhaust, and all that stuff. You're going to want to use your units to swing into the other enemy's units to make effective trades, create tempo, and with that added Overwhelm, even sneak in some extra damage to the base. I personally, between the 2 leaders that were revealed today, Moff Gideon and the Mandalorian, as of right now, I'm more excited for Moff Gideon than the Mandalorian because of cards that we already have in the game from the first set. But obviously, this is 10 out of 262 cards, so the Mandalorian could easily be better, and I might end up falling in love with it more when we get deeper into spoiler season. Also, this does not begin the spoiler season. They made that pretty clear in the live stream, but these are just some cards that they wanted to show off and get us ready for it. So now let's take a look at the next card that is actually going to be inside of the Moff Gideon starter deck. And that card is going to be Phase 3 Dark Trooper. This card is badass. I love this card. It is a 3-cost, 3/3 command and villainous Imperial Droid Trooper with Sentinel. So we finally have a green Sentinel card to pay off with Colonel Yularen. A lot of us have been doing a Cell Block Guard, which is a 3/3 Sentinel, but no green, so you don't get that extra heal from Colonel Yularen. Obviously, it's not like super important. It's basically, at this point, a strictly better Cell Block Guard if you're playing in green. So Cell Block Guard will probably fade away from the green decks, or maybe still be in there if you need the extra Sentinels, of course. But with the added bonus. Not only is it green, but it also has when combat damage is dealt to this unit, give an experience token to this unit if it survives the damage. So obviously that's going to be really good. You can forcefully swing in and do trades to make it bigger by yourself by just attacking stuff. So if you attack it into a card with 2 power, obviously you don't have to wait for the attacks to come to you. It is Sentinel, so they will come. But if you attack a 2 power unit, you're going to get bigger. You're going to become a 4/4 with however much remaining health you have. Grand Moff Tarkin is actually a really good leader for this as well, because you can give experience tokens to other Imperial units. This is an Imperial unit. And then it's actually really good with Moff Gideon as well. Obviously it's in the Moff Gideon starter deck, because you can attack with it to give it +1/+0, and then whenever it's flipped over, you give it overwhelm as well. I can see phase 3 Dark Trooper being very, very big, very, very scary, and I'm excited to see what else we could do with it. I was really wanting Inquisitor to work. Whenever I saw it a lot revealed, I was like, oh my god, green Inquisitor, like that could be kind of cool, but its combat damage is dealt to the unit, so can't do that. Unfortunately, because Inquisitor is not combat damage, of course, to ready it. If that was the case, it would be a 4 power readied unit, but it is Sentinel, so you probably don't want it to get readied. But yeah, you know, it's a good ECL target, possibly, but you know, you probably want it to live. I'm really excited about this card. I want to see what people cook up. I think this is one of my favorite cards that was revealed today. And now the next card is a blue card that's going to be in this Moff Gideon starter deck, because it's actually going to be a green-blue starter deck. So that card is actually going to be Calculated Lethality. So this is a 4-cost vigilance villainy event. It's a tactic. Defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less. For each upgrade that was on that unit, give an experience token to a friendly unit. So, I mean, for 4, you're killing something that costs 3 or less, so you're already behind. So you really want to use this in an instance where there's going to be upgrades on a unit. So I have a couple notes on it. It's going to be a great sideboard into decks that love spamming experience tokens and shields, like Jedi focused decks, Luke decks, Grand Moff Tarkins. When they're spamming the experience tokens, spamming the shields, those are considered, you know, upgrades. So whenever you pop something with Calculated Lethality, just like say you had someone popped a wing leader and put 2 experience tokens on something, and then you popped whatever they put the experience tokens on, you now get 2 experience tokens to put on whatever you want. And then a really fun interaction that I saw on the card is that you could probably use it on your own units. So for instance, if you have a card that has a bunch of experience tokens on it, but it's getting really low on health, use Calculated Lethality to blow up your own card to basically just take the experience tokens from one card to another. Kind of like if you're doing like a Voltron style of deck. That could be a pretty cool interaction with this card, and also with Traitorous. So it has to be attached to a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less anyway to take control of it. So if someone Traitorouses your unit, you Calculated Lethality that unit, and then you get a profitable trade because they spent 5 to take your thing, you spent 4 to kill it, and you're getting a 1/1 counter that you can put on something else. Even more if you had upgrades on your unit that they stole. So I think that would be a pretty good card. I think it has a lot more power as a sideboard card than an actual main deck card, but time will tell. Again, this is very early on, so we don't really know the whole story. The final card that we're going to look at in Moff Gideon's starter deck is one that I think is gonna cook. It's going to involve one of my favorite cards that has not seen the justice that it deserves. And that card is Gideon's Light Cruiser Dark Trooper Station, which is really cool. It is an 8-cost villainous Imperial Vehicle Capital Ship, 7 power, 8 toughness with Overwhelm. So when attacking an enemy unit, it deals excess damage to the opponent's base. And when played, if you control Moff Gideon as a leader or as a unit, play a villainous unit that costs 3 or less from your hand or discard pile for free. It's kind of a worse home one, obviously the same price, has 1 more toughness, but with home one it has restore 2 and it gives restore to everything, and then you can play a heroic unit from your discard pile for 3 less. But with this card, you know, when you play at some targets, you could be looking at our Snowtrooper Lieutenant and Admiral Piet to basically instantly be able to actually swing in with this thing for 7 or for 8, which is really cool. But you can basically, how that works in my head, you sneak attack it out for 1 less because you're paying 2 for sneak attack, it'll cost 3 less. So you're sneak attacking it out for 7. You on a play, you play like a Snowtrooper Lieutenant or an Admiral Piet. Admiral Piet will give it ambush because you'll have priority. You can choose the way the triggers work, and then, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I've seen a lot of debates over that. And then Snowtrooper Lieutenant, if you hit Snowtrooper Lieutenant, you can then immediately swing at the opponent's base for 9 damage with Gideon's light cruiser. Kind of crazy. I love this card. This is my favorite probably in the entire reveal, just because it utilizes sneak attack in a funny way, and I love sneak attack. That right there is my baby. But yeah, let's go on to the spoilers for the Mandalorian starter deck. So the first card, and well, I guess first couple cards of the Mandalorian starter deck are obviously the Mandalorian as the leader himself, alongside the Mandalorian's rifle. So the Mandalorian leader is a 6 resource to deploy 4/7 when he is deployed. On his leader side, whenever you play an upgrade, you can exhaust him, and if you do, you get to exhaust an enemy unit with 4 or less remaining HP. So, you know, sticking to the cunning themes of creating tempo, exhausting your enemy's units, that way you can build an advantage, whether it be on the board or, you know, in terms of base HP, resources, all that good stuff. And then whenever he is flipped to his actual unit side, he has, whenever you play an upgrade, you may exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less remaining HP. So you no longer have the downside of exhausting yourself, and you also get the upside of exhausting a unit with 6 or less remaining HP instead of 4. So that's a plus as well. Right now, I mean, the only really good upgrade that I can see, at least in his colors, both being heroic and cunning, is snapshot reflexes. It's a 1 cost, +1/+1, and then when played, you may attack with an attached unit. So, you know, when you play it, not only do you get to exhaust an enemy unit, but you also get to attack. So, you know, that's just action stacking, creating value, creating tempo, and cunning, which is the thing you want to be doing in cunning, of course. But I had to pair it with the new upgrade item in the starter deck, the Mandalorian's rifle, just because I think these 2 cards are bread and butter, made for each other. You attach it to a friendly non-vehicle unit. It's a 3 cost heroic +3/+0 item weapon. And when played, if the attached unit is the Mandalorian, he captures an exhausted enemy non-leader unit. So captured is one of the new mechanics in the game, Star Wars Unlimited. How it works is you basically take the capture card face down underneath whatever card did the capturing until that unit leaves play. So, you know, say you flip Mandalorian on turn 5 when you have 6 resources, maybe a little earlier if you're playing yellow-green and you ramp it out a little bit. You play the Mandalorian, and then you play Mandalorian's rifle for 3. When played, you get to do a bunch of different things, okay? So when played, I would say you trigger Mandalorian's ability first, where you can exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less remaining HP. And I find this to be really good, especially if the enemy has a Sentinel unit on the board. And then you play the Mandalorian's rifle on top. So now he is a 6 resource 7/7 leader, which is really, really good. That's ready to attack. And then when you actually play the upgrade, you can capture and exhaust an enemy non-leader unit. So you play out your leader, and then you spend 3 resources on the Mandalorian's rifle. You exhaust a 6 or less remaining HP unit. You capture it so it's out of play, and you know, you have a 7/7 leader. That combo right there is really good. I feel like 3 resources for +3/+0. It's kind of trash on anything else. I feel like it's really only good on the Mandalorian. He is both a leader and a unit in this set, and the unit actually got spoiled as well, so that'll be one of the last things we cover. But if you're not playing it on the Mandalorian, the price to benefit ratio, spending 3 for +3/+0 with no benefit outside of that on anything that's not Mandalorian, I don't think is very, very good personally. But now we'll go over one of my actually it's not my favorite card in the Mandalorian starter deck, but it's really cool, and that card is going to be the Razor Crest. So the Razor Crest, reliable gunship, is a 4-resource vigilance hero Mandalorian vehicle transport with 3 power, 4 toughness, and restore 2 with a when played effect. When played, you may return an upgrade from your discard pile to your hand. This card is great. I have System Patrol Craft on here because it's the same cost, the same stats, except you're swapping out Sentinel for Restore 2 and a when played effect, which is really, really good. I feel like it kind of blows System Patrol Craft out of the water. Unless you need, you know, a Sentinel unit to block some stuff over there, then obviously it does that better than Razor Crest. But it's also a really nasty pair for ECL. I am covering it, but everyone knows what ECL does at this point. You play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it ambush. This card is really good because it can reliably trade with a bunch of different cards in the current metagame, and live and keep that threat of Restore 2 on board. So you ECL out or Energy Conversion Lab out Razor Crest, you can swing into any of these. You can kill off a Cartel Spacer, you can kill off a Red 3, you can kill off a Consortium Star Viper. They're all pretty popular at the moment in terms of space units that this Razor Crest can reliably kill, proc Restore 2 to heal your base for 2 and stay on the board. And then, you know, you take initiative, you swing in again and get another Restore 2. So you for 4 resources, you're probably taking out 2 units or a unit and dealing damage to base while healing 4 off of your own base. This card is really good. I don't know what it is with these space units in this general range, but they are all pretty good value, and I'm a big fan of the Razor Crest. But my favorite card by far in the Mandalorian starter deck is everyone's favorite little baby Yoda, Grogu, Irresistible. He is a 2-resource, cunning, heroic card, 0 power and then 5 health. With action, you exhaust him to exhaust an enemy unit. One of the cool things that kind of just popped into my head, and I didn't really think about before, but it helps. It's not reliant to any sort of arena. You don't have to exhaust a ground unit. You could exhaust a space unit with Grogu if you wanted to. I guess that's how crazy he is with the Force, you know. But this card is my favorite. This guy is going to be annoying. He has a, you know, big amount of toughness. I was going to say, you know, big, but that sounds strange. But a lot of HP. He is a Force unit. That's super important. Cards that synergize with them well. The Force is with me to give a friendly unit, you know, 2 experience tokens. If you have a Force unit, also give it a shield token, and then you can attack with it. That's super good. It binds all things. You heal up to 3 damage and then deal that much damage to another unit. Force throw. You can make the enemy discard or make yourself discard. Obviously, those are different colors. You got to figure out if you want to do yellow red or yellow blue with Grogu. And then also Jedi lightsaber. You can make Grogu a 3/8 with on attack. Give the defender -2/-2. Grogu will be very annoying, especially if it's left alone. It's pretty OP. You're basically locking out one of the enemy's units from ever playing the game. This could really help heroic control be a thing. Right now, heroic aggro's obviously been a thing. Rookie Rush, Sabine, Leia, but it never really controlled. There's been kind of, you know, mid-ranges as far as heroic has been able to go so far, with like, you know, mid-rangey Luke decks, mid-rangey Cassian Andor decks. I could see this going into, like, you know, I was kind of theory crafting in my head, like maybe like a yellow blue Chewbacca control deck where you just hold off the game as long as you can. You get Chewbacca and a bunch of big stuff on the board and kind of went through that way. I don't know. But this is my favorite card in the starter deck. I feel like he's going to cause a lot of problems. And, you know, we haven't even seen if there's going to be even more crazy Force add-on or Force reliant items in the set. So we'll wait and see. Last but not least, we have 2 other cards. These cards are not in either of the starter decks, but I did want to show them off kind of on the same screen. We have a common card, which is our first bounty card that we've seen. It is Wanted. It is a 0 cost cunning +0/+0 bounty, where the attached unit gains bounty ready to friendly resources. So if a unit with a bounty is defeated, the opponent collects the bounty. So you put this Wanted card on an opponent's card, and then when you take it out, you get the benefits of the bounty. This had me think of a way to I mean, you have to have the exact right cards in hand. You have to have a combined total of 3 cards in hand, and you have to be playing Boba with ECL, which, I mean, a lot of people are playing that right now anyway. But with SLT, resupply, and wanted in hand, basically, you know, turn 1, you're not, you know, you're doing whatever you want to do. You play Greedo or whatever. Turn 2, you wanted an enemy unit, preferably a ground unit, obviously, with 2 toughness. Then you energy conversion lab to ambush out super laser technician to defeat or just trade with the unit that has the wanted on it. Obviously, a lot of stuff has to go right for this to work, but not only will you get super laser technician in your resource slot readied and, you know, ready to go. So you'll have 1 resource ready and 3 unreadied. So let's do it like 1 readied, 3 unreadied, but wanted will let you ready 2 of them. So you'll have 3 readied, 1 not readied. You'll play resupply with these 3. So you have 2 non-readied. But then you have a total of 5 resources on board. So then you play out Boba Fett on turn 2 when the person on the other side of the table has 3 resources. You have 5 with Boba Fett out, a 4/7. When you attack with him, you can ready up 2 more resources. You could even tap Boba Fett when you trade with SLT, that where you play out Boba Fett and you have all 5 resources ready on turn 2 when the only other person across the table only has 3 resources. You have to have the exact right hand, and you'll burn through a lot of cards, but it's a play line and it's kind of crazy. And I'm sure it'll happen to somebody who is unfortunate and is playing against the normies playing Boba Fett green. You know, cringe, but it happens. And then probably the best card in the entire review today is going to be the Mandalorian legendary unit. Wherever I go, he goes. Pretty fitting considering the artwork. He's carrying around Grogu. He is a 6 resource vigilance heroic card, 5/6 Mandalorian bounty hunter with Sentinel. It's another 6 resource Sentinel unit. When played, you may heal all damage from a unit that costs 2 or less and give 2 shield tokens to it. That's pretty crazy in and of itself. One of my favorite theory crafted things that I came up with is you're playing Cunning Vigilance Hero, so, you know, yellow blue hero. You have a Grogu on board with the lightsaber. So, you know, he's a 3/8. Maybe he's down to 3/2, 3/1 because he's been getting beat up a lot. Mandalorian instant heals him and gives him 2 shield tokens. And then you can keep exhausting him to, like, you know, it's crazy. That's the main thing that I've thought of, but I find that to be a pretty funny play line. And all in all, I mean, it's just another amazing unit for heroic control, especially with healing all the damage from like a key unit, giving it 2 shields. This card is going to be crazy. I'm really excited for the Mandalorian and seeing what other cards we could cook with whenever we get more spoilers. So that's it for my thoughts on the 10 cards that were revealed today, and, you know, alongside the shield and the experience token, technically 12, but really 10. The third mechanic that they revealed today as well is a mechanic called Smuggle. They did not talk about it really at all. They just said that one of them said it was his favorite mechanic that's being added to the game. So if it's better than Bounty and if it's better than, what's the other one? Capture, then that'll be pretty cool. But as of right now, we don't know. But let me know what you thought about these cards down in the comment section below. If you think you're going to play them, and if you're not going to play them, what you like, what you dislike. If I missed the mark on any of them, if some are stronger than I think or going to be a lot weaker than I think, and I'm just too optimistic, let me know down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, share it, you know, all that good stuff. This has been James with Make an Opening, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.